The following is for entertainment purposes only. We are not financial advisors. We are not responsible for any losses, only the profits.
What's happening, Octo family? We're going to take a look at some things that I hear around the interwebs every now and then. We just got to clear the air and really take a look at it. Republicans versus Democrats and the DXY. DXY is the US dollar currency index. So the US dollar, how much it's worth if we had to put a price on it. Republican versus Democrat led presidencies. As you can see here in this graph, these red lines that I have going, see how they're always going down? That's when we have a Republican president. These blue lines are when it's going up. That's for Democrat. Every time we've had a Democratic president since 1986, at least from where we can chart, the US dollar worth, let's call it, to keep it simple, goes up. But every time a Republican comes in, it comes down. So what the trippy part is here, and this will tell us the full macro picture at least, is this time we've only got 4 years. And by the way, before I go any further, this is betting on the fact that Biden is going to be the president and it is 100%. I guess it's not 100% stone yet, but it's like 95% of the way there. Regardless, we're going to move on thinking that Biden will take over from here. So if Trump does only get to spend his 4 years in, that's where this could really kind of mess things up, because this is what's going to tell us, is it just because a Republican or Democrat is in the House, or is it because it's just every 8 years? It could easily be that. Well, why did it start like that? I don't know. Regardless, this is something to pay attention to. Now, why I did 2 blue lines at the end here is I'm just kind of real curious to see what plays out here. Will the dollar go up or down? Judging by the 8-year rule, it should be going down. But going by the Republican or Democrat rule, it should go up, right? This will prove and see what's going on. So why do we mainly care about this? Because a lot of times it fluctuates and runs parallel with things like gold, other backed assets, right? So when other backed assets such as gold go up, a lot of times it's because the dollar's going down. The theory in this, and why the explanation for how Wall Street reacts to this, is that people don't want their money in an asset that's going down. They'd rather move it into something else they feel like they're safer falling back into and on, such as gold or Bitcoin, right? But you can take a look here. It's not always the case for gold, because halfway through Obama's term, which is what's throwing a curveball here, like right in the middle of the term, it switched. It's like right at 4 years, it switched and started going down. So that's kind of weird. We also just don't have enough data and enough volatility or movement before, let's call it Bush Jr., right? Which was a Republican here. But before that, there just wasn't enough movement to really call it one way or another. I mean, slightly going down, slightly going up, but you can see since 2000, gold is, it's gone from $280 an ounce on up to over $2,000 an ounce this time. But that's what trips me out, is why did this bend halfway through Obama? Or again, is this just more of like a 4-year cycle? It could be explained that it's a 4 to 8 year cycle. What do you think? There's another gold, the spider, it basically looks exactly the same, right? But the deal is here is, if you notice, like this run up with Bush Jr., it was going up too. So Bush Jr. went up, and then halfway Obama went up, but then half Obama went down. How about bonds? So these usually correlate too, right? With gold and the DXY. When the dollar goes down, a lot of times the TLT goes with it, right? And so a lot of the big macro thesis guys for the world view on money, TLT bonds, the big bond guys, they're the ones usually ahead of the market. A lot of them are bullish on the American dollar, as am I. I always hope that gold and silver go up, mainly because I have a lot of it. I want it to be worth more, right? But the reality is we still got to pay attention to everything here. And if the dollar goes up, so if this dollar here, the DXY, starts going up, most of the time gold value and silver value will go down. And TLT should go up with the dollar because gold is losing value. So people say, okay, now I'm taking out a gold. I don't want this anymore. I want something that's going to appreciate. And they look over at TLT and say, oh, that's what people are running to TLT. What's trippy about this past 6 months to a year, which has been insane for all financial sectors as a whole, is TLT has run up. It's run up. I wouldn't say a lot, though, for what's going on, right? Since March of this year, let's throw it right here. Maybe it started like 150. It's gone up to, it peaked at $178 for TLT, 20-year treasury bonds, which is a decent run for bond guys, you know, but it's not that much, man. Think if all these bond guys would have bought Tesla instead. You know, imagine where their bank flow would be right now. Regardless, as crazy as everything's been going on, TLT has been just dripping down. So people still aren't running to TLT, which has always told me that people still really aren't that scared. Just like the VIX. The VIX has still been just like fizzling, going down. People are not that scared, man. I think a lot of people are looking at the market like, where else are people going to put their money, though, too? Because a lot of people that used to put money in high interest savings accounts, which we've talked about a lot, are still usually losing money compared to real inflation, right? If you haven't seen my videos on that, just look up inflation on my channel here and you'll be able to read up a little bit more about that. But regardless, they're just still not. Why? Because I don't think there's any other place you can put money in. Where are you going to get over even a 3% on your money right now? Nowhere. Other than SPACs. SPACs are floored. A bunch of other stocks. How about Bitcoin? Man, hard to tell. We just don't have enough data. That's my conclusion on it, right? I mean, it's gone up, it's rocketed, but I mean, we just don't have enough data to talk about it. I'm still definitely long bull Bitcoin for sure, absolutely for sure. Imagine if there was 1 million houses in the United States and it was illegal or impossible to build more houses. Do you think that those houses would gain value over time? It's kind of how Bitcoin is. Not all digi-coins are like that, though. They can print more money, like the US dollar or the euro. They can just print more euros to buy more American dollars and flip them and all that stuff. Not with Bitcoin. They can't print more. There's only X amount of Bitcoins. Where else are people going to go when all the other dollars are still just going to keep tanking, getting more and more devalued? No matter what, when January, February, March starts hitting again, we have trillions of more dollars stimulus coming from whoever is going to be in office. What does that mean? Dollars just aren't worth as much. So where am I getting with this video? Just don't trust the fact that people think every time a Democrat gets in, it'll go up for the DXY. And don't also think that gold will always correlate, and don't always think that TLT and your bonds are going to correlate. This year, the reason why all the big boys are saying this is the craziest market ever is because it is. Why? Because we can prove it. Trends just aren't trends. Like, nothing is like it used to be. You know, history does repeat itself, but not always in the same amount of ingredients to repeat it, right? Sometimes it's going to make up its thing. The only correlating thing I can definitely see is the 4-year treatment, I'm going to call it. To me, if you start looking at all these big macro picture stocks, about every 4 years, 4 years, we get some big changes. So it'll be interesting. Y'all want to call down in the comments? Do you think the DXY is going to go up in the next 4 years, the dollar, and why? And do you think it's going to go down? I personally think it's going to go down a little bit, and eventually I am a dollar bull for sure that it's going to end up mooning because it's still the worldwide wanted traded currency. It's what all other countries still want. Some are really mad because we made it so they can't even swap their dollars for ours. They're in negative swap nations. Y'all heard of that? Some trippy stuff. Thanks for watching the video. If you haven't subscribed, please do it. We got plays all over the place dealing with all sorts of money matters, stocks, SPACs, penny stocks, you name it. I've got more videos I'm working on now. Gonna get this one out right before Monday hits. Y'all have a good rest of the day and take care.
Did you know that we give away free silver? Simply leave a comment on the video, and as long as you're in the continental United States, you can be automatically entered to win. Please friend us on Twitter and StockTwits.